The first thing that you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she loves performing. Whether she's in front of an audience for her Beyond Mama Bear seminar, busting guts at open mic comedy, or chatting with yours truly on this very podcast, Mrs. Filholm is always putting on a show. The next thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she's actually a trained actor. She attended Trinity Rep Conservatory in Providence, Rhode Island, where she learned to dance and sing like a trained monkey. Though you may not see her in Guys and Dolls anytime soon, she performs every single day.
The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that he recently sent me a link to an article from 2013 about paid applause at the Bolshoi Ballet and a related acid attack perpetrated on the company's artistic director. He was interested in and wanted to discuss all of it: ballet culture, theater history, audience protocol, and, of course, that whole acid attack thing. He was practically giddy at this first glimpse into a whole world he didn't even know existed, and he couldn't wait to dive deeper. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that he sends such links, articles, memes, and videos to me and to a whole lot of other people about everything from Banksy's latest exploits to innovations in worldwide shipping to obscure facts about Ernest Hemingway to behind-the-scenes special effects footage from the new Mary Poppins movie to the history of typesetting to motorcycle maintenance. There is no end to his curiosity, and few people are more fun to follow down any particular rabbit hole.
Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world. Are you ready?
Yeah, I like your shirt.
Thank you. It's my podcasting shirt.
I gave it to you for Christmas.
Roderick on the line. Big red bell.
Yeah, where's our bell? Nice.
right
It's all set up on our new podcast table. Way to go, Mr. Bridges. We are really extra today. The setup is coming along.
It certainly is. Now that we've got several episodes out,
we're getting profesh.
That's right.
We're going profesh. And that is Roderick on the line, one of our inspirations. We're paying homage right here as we podcast. You got your podcast shirt. I got my podcast slippers on.
That's right.
So cozy. I'm not wearing a skort.
All decked out. You're not wearing a skort? Why
I'm not wearing a skort.
What's going on?
Well, Andrew.
You've been wearing a skort for 4 years?
Almost 5 years.
5 years? And today you're not.
3 times in the past 3 months, I have done nothing different in my wardrobe except I just didn't put the skort on as final layer. I normally wear leggings in the winter when it's cold, and I put a skort on top of the leggings. For a variety of reasons, there have been 3 times in the past 3 months I have not done that. I have opted to just go with leggings. Bold move. You know how I feel about tights are not pants.
Yeah, that's your catchphrase when you're talking to 14-year-old girls.
Correct.
Tights are not pants, young lady.
Tights are not pants, young lady. These are not tights. These are, okay. So 3 different times in public, I have, not in big public, just like going out running errand kind of situation. Once to a sort of low-key brunch.
Little public?
A little public.
Just out in little public?
Tiny public. When I'm out in tiny public, I have worn just leggings, like substantial leggings. They're like pants. As I say, normally I would pull a skort on over. That's just feeling kind of a lot of clothes. Anyway, so I've done that 3 times. All of those things have just been black. Everything, it's hard to get me to not wear black. Most of the things in my closet are all black. Yesterday I had the stomach flu, Andrew. Mm-hmm. I was laid up for 24 hours.
24 hours? So it's one of those 24-hour bugs?
That's what they say.
You're looking much better now.
Yeah. I lay on the couch for almost 24 hours and did literally nothing. Do you know how much I hate that?
I want one of those days right now.
I hate it so much. I wish you could have taken mine. Hated it. So I was feeling kind of awful, and today was a work day. It was Monday morning. We're recording on a Monday. And I got up and just wanted to wear pajamas to work, as you do when you're still feeling on the heels of, being sick. And I just put on some really cozy, and also it's really cold in Denver on the day we are recording. Have you noticed?
It is unbelievably cold outside.
These happen to be blue leggings. I have 2 pairs of leggings that aren't black. One's blue, one's kind of gray.
Will you forgive me?
Yeah.
I have 2 brothers. I have no idea what a legging is. Is that the same as a yoga pant? I
thought you were going to ask me to stop talking because I'm getting bored with all of this. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what a yoga pant is anymore. But yeah, this is in the style of a yoga pant. It's a very substantial, engineered piece of tight-fitting clothing that's super comfortable, tight-fitting, and sucks you in and doesn't reveal anything. It's pretty thick fabric. It's performance material. It's prosumer gear.
That's right. Those are for climbing mountains and
Yeah, I mean, or even is it for yoga? No, I think it's for wearing to work like I did today on a very casual day. They're blue. Put on brown boots. They look cool with the blue. Kind of gives the denim look. I'm used to that. Cool. Normally I pull on a black skort.
a denim look. Are those jeggings?
No, I think jeggings is an actual sort of stretchy denim thing.
I don't know. You got leggings that look like denim.
Yeah, they do. All right, jeggings. I don't care. I will own it. So I don't think that I have interfered with the integrity of the project because I'm still just pulling stuff out of my closet and not caring and going out of the house and looking fine. But it was a little bit disorienting, even to me, that I didn't wear a skort.
That is, I can't imagine changing up your uniform after having the exact same thing for 5 years.
It's still the same thing. I just didn't add the final thing. You know what I mean? And also, that's what happens when I have to spend a whole day on the couch doing nothing. I lose it. We have nice new stools. We're sitting on this, pretty comfy.
Yeah, I like these.
I'm good.
I like these.
My feet touch on the chair rail, which is nice for me because sometimes in chairs my feet don't touch. We could stand up, and actually sometimes that's better.
We could, yeah. This fancy desk is a standing desk, so we could.
Sure is.
We could move it and we could stand up. But we got some furniture. We had a birthday. Lots of fun stuff. It was a very busy weekend, and then today I had to catch up because I'm going on a trip soon. So I've got to try to knock out as much work as I can before the trip.
Right. You're going on a motorcycle cross-country, many-pointed adventure extravaganza palooza.
That's right. That's it.
You're going on a motorcycle trip.
Yep.
With your brother.
With my brother.
How many hours are you going to be riding a motorcycle?
Not too many. We're going somewhere and we're only riding half the time. So I think we'll be back. It'll probably be 14 hours on the road.
On the actual bike?
On the actual bike.
Feels like a lot of hours.
It is a lot of hours, but we're breaking it up. We're doing it over several days.
You're going to sightsee? You're going to see some national parks? That's his jam.
I think we are. I'm a little nervous about the weather.
I'm also nervous about the weather.
I looked up all the different stops on our trip today, and they all have rain and snow in the forecast.
Delicious. You got your winter gear?
I've got some good gear. The one thing I'm missing that I need to figure out before I leave is motorcycle pants. And they're one of those things. They're super, in general, motorcycle stuff is uncomfortable because it's heavy and it's got all those pads built in and that sort of thing. So there's kind of enough friction that you don't want to wear it, but you have to wear it. You should wear it. You should always wear it. But these pants, there's even more friction because good ones are like $400.
That's some friction. Yeah, that's a different kind of friction. Chaps your ass.
It sure does.
So do you have to do it? You have to do it. You have to get some tactical pants.
I have to get some tactical pants. I have to get some, I don't know what you'd call them, pants that protect me from skinning my ass.
Yeah, and knees and everything. I don't feel that any part of this sounds super fun. Could you explain to me why that sounds fun?
It's going to be fun because it's going to be time with my brother, and it's going to be...
adorable.
Even when the weather's miserable, just time alone in your helmet's always good, especially if you...
Show title. Time alone in your helmet. I mean, I know what you mean. I don't have a helmet, but I'm with you. Carry on.
Totally. So I'm not going to be working. I don't have much to worry about except for getting myself from where we leave in the morning to where we're going to arrive in the afternoon. And it's just a lot of quiet time. It's good.
And you're seeing things.
And we're seeing
Your
things.
eyes are going to be feasting on the great American landscape.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Feast for the eyes. You have done a very good job of convincing me why that sounds fun. That's fun. Okay, so you've got a lot to do before Thursday when you leave.
I don't have that much to do. I need to buy pants.
Jeez, your life is about I've got to buy pants.
And I need to get my mind right, and then we just go.
What do you have to do to get your mind right, sir?
Nothing. It's already there.
That's what I thought. You're already there.
I'm already in trip mode.
Are you?
I'm tired of talking about adventure. I want to hear about settling down.
adventure is so boring.
You've been working on this house purchase. What's the latest?
I am under contract. I am waiting
You're
appraisal.
under contract?
Mm-hmm. I've been under contract. This is the thing. It's a long con here with this one.
So under contract, that means that you made an offer. They accepted it.
I had an inspection.
Pending inspection and pending.
I had an inspection. I put in some objections to the inspection. They accepted them, so they're going to fix all the things that we said please fix, which, by the way, were super minor, unlike the last home that I put an offer on and paid for that inspection. And remember, it was mold-sick firehouse.
Oh, yeah.
This house was lovely. I kept preparing for the worst, but if you want me to send it to you, I have a video of the sewer. It's fantastic. It's clean as a whistle.
I've got the sewer video from my own house.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Was it good?
I think I turned it off.
Well, I mean, they told you about, okay, this one.
My sewer's fine.
Yeah.
What's the most exciting part about getting your own place? Is it filling it with, is it nesting and making it a home? Is it not having a roommate? Is it having space to do all your stuff that you want to do?
Yep.
All of the above?
It. Yeah. I mean, you've described it. I do sort of dream of like, oh my God, that workshop, how can I, being able to lay out projects that it not bothering anybody else. You know what? It is less, living alone for me has become pleasant, not so much because I can't stand the other people, but because I feel like I am such a burden on other people. I am not fun to live with. I might spread a project out and need to leave it there for a few days. That is disruptive to everybody else. I might not. I might get on a bender and feel like everything needs to be dusted and cleaned, and that's a pain to everybody else. So it's just that, the kind of freedom and joy of going, yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm a bad neighbor and I'm a bad roommate. Wait till you see it. It's a studio, and then I think I'm going to put the kiln in the little shed because that's a thing to do.
You're going to keep your kiln.
What do you mean? That's the whole point.
I didn't even consider that you could move your kiln to your new house.
What? That's the whole point of the outbuildings. That's the whole point, is that I need to take my kiln on my wheels. There's a whole space in that backyard for Clay Beach already built in. Okay, then there's a metal shed. Look it up. There's a little metal shed there. That's pictures online. That thing, I think, is going to be the kiln room. If I got to drop that 240 power, but I have been told by the inspector guy it's NBD. It's going to pull about 30 from my house to whenever I'm firing. No problem. I got enough. It's a nice house. I'm excited about it. Look at it. It's cute.
It's going to pull 30 what?
What are they called?
Amps?
One moment. Okay, it's going to be boring while I look it up.
I don't know a damn thing about electricity, and I'm still kicking myself for not taking physics in high school.
You didn't take physics?
I didn't take physics.
That's too bad. You know why you would like it?
I would love it.
You know why?
All I do now on YouTube is watch physics videos.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Physics professors and teachers are poets. Physicists, in my mind, are the best at using, you know how you describe a metaphor, how an English teacher might describe a metaphor as, there was a sweet way that they taught it to you in middle school, using something known to understand the unknown. Mm-hmm. Lovely thought about a metaphor, isn't it? Physicists and physics, they're the best at it. They're poets. They can draw, oh my gosh, I love talking to physicists. George, my son, called me one day recently to tell me that his physics class was blowing his mind, changing his life perspective. So good. Everything. I think we talked about it on the air. I apologize, dear readers, for my repetitive rants, but it was great. It's a great thing to be a mama who has a kid who calls you up saying, my college class is everything they told us in high school college will be. Isn't that cute?
That's fantastic, especially when you make sacrifices to send them to college.
Yep, that's right. We just make sacrifices, but we love them. I mean, okay, so when you're talking about electricity, you're talking about volts and amps and phases. That phases don't matter to this conversation. My kiln requires 240 volts, and then the amperage that it pulls is, I think, about 30. I have a 10. Oh, we should put it. Maybe Skutt Kilns would sponsor us.
We need to get
highly doubt it.
We need to get some affiliate links set up so that when people buy kilns through our link, we get a little
money in the bank. Yeah, a little change. So I have a Skutt 1018. It's beautiful.
Skutt 1018.
Mm-hmm. KM 1018. I was recommended to get a deeper kiln, but the truth is that I am so short that leaning over to touch the bottom of my kiln is difficult for a kiln any deeper than that. So it pulls, I was wrong, it pulls about 40, it pulls 39 to 40 amps from the main electrical grid. And so my inspector looked it up at my request. I was standing there like a weirdo instead of saying, honestly, Andrew, I didn't really investigate too much. Is the shower head working?
Why would you?
I mean, but what I wanted to know is, excuse me, can I drop 240 here? Where would be the best place to do? I need to do a sub panel? And I think not, because the amperage that I have coming into the house, small panel, but I think I have enough that even when I am firing my kiln, I won't blow anything in my house. There is a covered and also screened in porch where I think I can have my hanging chair.
Your hanging chair?
Yeah, we're going to have outside covered patio like I've always dreamed of.
Your hanging chair is so funny.
Funny.
Sometimes I forget with your large personality, I forget just how small you are, and that in just about every chair you sit in, your legs don't touch the ground, and your hanging chair that you're affectionately referring to is like maybe a foot off the ground.
It was like a foot off the ground. Yeah, I know. That was not really on purpose. I was working it out. But your brother, speaking of your brother, he loved it. I could see, I'm looking back here at my yard, it could get pretty hot back there in the summer. But like I'm saying, screened in porch. Bro, Andrew, it's cute.
I'm looking at the pictures of this place. This looks amazing.
Okay, right? I mean, okay, let's be clear to the viewers at home. Amazing is on a spectrum.
Well,
it's in an up-and-coming neighborhood, okay? My son, who lives in France, when I told him the address, he said, "Oh, Mama, please don't live there." But wait till he sees it. He will love it, and he will also come home and help me put in a new garage door, which is actually job number 1. That's enough of my new house. That's really boring to everybody except you and me. But yes, I think soon we will have Recording Studio North.
I can't wait.
Trying to name the house.
Yeah? What are you going to name your house? My house is
that.
named The Swamp after The Swamp and MASH.
Okay. Right. And that's perfect, isn't it? I'm thinking of my original... The thing that I can't get off of is the dollhouse on Shakedown Street. But people have told me that's too wordy.
Well, I'm headed back to the dollhouse.
The dollhouse. It's so
That's
tiny.
fine.
It's fine. I can't think of another good one. Somebody recently was pointing out, no, what about like a nice English manor name? Sure, if you're going to name a house. Yeah, that's a great instinct. Not this house.
The Towers at Hood.
Right? Hood Towers. Oh, that might be funny. Then a friend pointed out that I should name my home Grey Gardens, and then I stopped in my tracks because I want a happy implication.
I think it'd be funny if it was named Grey Gardens and you had painted everything rainbow. That'd be hilarious.
You've never actually seen the documentary Grey Gardens, have you?
I've watched parts of it.
Mother darling. Yeah, I know. But the point is that's a dark reference. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I can't believe that at this point, by the time someone's listening to this episode, there will be 8 episodes. This is number 8. Holy cow.
You're going to talk about the podcast on the podcast?
Not only did we start a podcast, but we carried it through 8 episodes. Crazy.
All right. We just said we weren't going to talk about the show on the show, but I do have to tell you something about that, okay? We worked really hard to do that.
We sure did. And we've got together pretty much every week, minus a trip to Hawaii or whatever, and we've done it.
We've also been planning it, honestly, for at least 2 years, and more like 3. I bought that original snowball, and we sat in the conference room of my new job at the time at the university. And like on my lunch hour, we would just kind of practice. Like, what does it sound like? How does it work when we sit around and, yuck it up? And we worked hard to define the purpose and the shape of it. I'm not kidding. And people think that it's just us jokey podcast getting together and having a beer, but we worked hard at it and we've made some really judicious choices. And we identified the things that I believe all good projects must start with, which we taught you in senior English: subject, occasion, audience, purpose, speaker, and tone. We identified those and we worked hard to define them, and we work hard to do it. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm proud of us. You got to show up if you want to be seen.
I'm proud of us too. I'm I think it's been really fun. I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
I still can't imagine who's actually going to be interested in listening to him, but
at this point, everyone who we've made subscribe has subscribed.
It's been a forceful.
They're not listening anymore. They're just downloading every week on a schedule.
Thank you for your service. That helps us. But maybe somebody out there who does like time-wasty podcasts.
We've probably got some huge following in a faraway country that we don't know about. There's probably a Reddit page.
Well, that would be cool. We would know about it because our sweet Squarespace analytics, though.
We probably
would be aware. Andrew, the very first thing that you identified as an audience demographic long ago, I'm not kidding, like 3 years ago when I was challenging you, who is going to listen to this thing that we're proposing? Who is our audience? Your first response to me was time wasters.
It absolutely is time wasters.
It's a hard audience to measure, but I mean, ultimately it is true. And as we've said, people who are tuning into this podcast to support us, who are used to NPR or learny or inspire-y podcasts.
That is something really interesting that we should talk about. Is our understanding of podcasts basically came from a very small group of podcasts, which are outside of NPR and that sort of thing.
Hold it. Not our understanding of. I understood a lot. Oh, interesting. I understood a lot of podcasts from way back. I do remember in 2005, kind of somebody explaining to me this is a podcast. Mm-hmm. And that was like in the early days of, seriously, NPR, David Sedaris, all of those things. So anyway, my understanding of podcasts has not changed. My appreciation, like you helped me find my way to this thing that we really dig. Carry on. When
I ask my friends what podcasts they listen to, it's always the same names. It's How I Built This. Mm-hmm. It's those very structured, produced shows that are put on predominantly by NPR, like Freakonomics.
You're learning something.
Yeah.
Inspired a little bit.
And that's not the kind of podcast that I listen to. Mm-hmm. As you know, I hate to be inspired. I don't want to be too inspired. That's why TED Talks and me don't get along.
I don't want to learn something when I'm got podcasts.
I'm just listening to waste time most of the time. And so the podcasts that I like are Roderick on the Line and Do by Friday and Back to Work. They all kind of revolve around the same small group of characters: Merlin Mann, John Roderick, Dan Benjamin, John Syracuse, and other little people who have their own shows as well.
Max Temkin.
But it's a lot of 2 people, 3 people talking.
I know. And you like Accidental Tech podcasts, which I also like, which is surprising because you wouldn't think I enjoy tech that much.
That's why we talk about our MacBooks on the show.
Exactly. It's inspired.
In my brain, a podcast equals talking about your computer.
I know. A little bit of talking about your computer. I know. But that's the thing. Like, it's not we are learning from those, but like, I don't know. We've talked about that. Those podcasts are all so interconnected. We've kind of found this funny little space that we enjoy. And then those people know other people. It's all interconnected. We call them our podcast family. I really realized at a certain point it was more like it was a soap opera that we watch, and then some people have spin-off shows, and you and I get together sometimes and talk about, hey, did you hear what happened with that one character? It's a little weird. It's a little weird that we do that. But I know I enjoy those kind of long-form. Well, there you have it. That's the kind of audience we're hoping to find. I'm not sure where they are.
When you compare it to a soap opera, it makes me wonder if that is television to you and me, because neither you nor I have a television.
Yeah, right. This is replacing it is what I think. Mm-hmm. People, when I tell them the little tagline, 25-year-old adult, 50-year-old child, and then it takes them just a fraction to go, I get it, you're the child in this equation. Yes, sir, I am. They kind of, there's some interest there in I think the idea of the young people and the old people learning from each other. We're right on trend, man.
We haven't talked about it, but I think that at a certain point, you've got an excellent perspective on things. I've got
really
a perspective.
Have, thank you.
And I got to believe that people want to ask us questions. So maybe we should invite that. Do you think at episode 8 it's time to invite the audience into the show or not?
Do you mean, tell me what format you're imagining?
People send in questions and we answer them.
We don't even have comments turned on right now.
Well, they'd have to do it. We'd have to create the account, but we could do it.
I know we do. I'm just saying, yes, I understand. That would be number one way of doing it is turn on comments and things on our website. Mm-hmm. And sure, yeah. Are you kidding?
I think that'd be fun.
The public. Are you out there?
We'll create a way for people to send anonymized comments so that we won't know it's coming from my mother every single time.
Okay, right. That's good. Oh, gosh darn it. Wouldn't that be great if somebody like that cared enough to send us nice feedback?
They do care.
Do
All of
they?
my
I think
all of
those
my
are your
family
friends.
members have subscribed.
Pardon me?
As far as I know,
All of your what?
family members.
A lot of my beautiful family members have subscribed on their own, and a lot of people that I have run into in person have subscribed because I take the phone out of their hands and make them do it. Thank you. I mean, okay, so right, what we're asking, we're putting ourselves, now this is real vulnerability, right? Is there anybody out there? Just nod if you can hear me. And if,
Blink twice. Blink twice if everything's okay.
so there we have it. Audience, let us know. What do we want? Criticism, critique, questions?
And
We're going to be an advice column sort of situation? What do you need to know from the old
they
lady?
can either ask us, our personal take on something, or they can ask for advice. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll give advice.
If it's got
We'll
a
give
question
advice.
mark at the end, it's on the
Give
show.
advice all day long. Okay, send your questions about anything. For now, we're taking them. All right, Andrew, we'll set that up.
Yep, and by the time this episode is posted, the link to where you need to post this question will be in the show notes.
Duh, it's right there. I can see it in my mind. When are you going to buy the baby foot peel and put on your feet while we sit
I
here?
need it.
What?
I need it so bad. This
Okay,
is
buy it right now. Go on Amazon. You can get it delivered, and then do it next week when we record after the motorcycle trip, where you'll be wet and swampy. You could do it right here. You have to leave it on for 1 hour. You could do it while we podcast. Show art. Get on it. Send it.
Okay. And in the meantime, we'll send them an email. We'll get them to sponsor the show.
Please, we just need some sponsors.
Babyfoot, we need you.
We need you. Or, yeah. What else?
Right now, Delaney and I were on a mission for more friends.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of transition in both of our lives, and we don't have those natural opportunities like you have in college, or maybe that we might have one day when we have kids.
That's it. That's the next one.
We're in
when
the
you have
fuzzy
children.
spot in
yeah,
between.
you really are. Right.
So we've
where
been
are you making
doing
those friends?
We've been doing a lot of double dates with other couples.
You've been consciously friend making.
We've been consciously friend making,
Tell
and
me
it's
all
so much
about it.
fun.
It's what?
It's so much fun. We're right at that age where people are. It's kind of funny. My friends are getting engaged, and her friends are having kids. They're just a little bit older.
Yeah, a lot of your classmates and they're before you are starting to get married. There's a lot of that and having babies. And so can we bring Mrs. Filholm the babies? I don't think I've held one of those babies yet. Oh, gross. The cat, oh my goodness. The cat is naked today. He is without his suit. He is without his cone. He's just letting it all hang out there. And those patches on his fur, we've been talking about this now for 8 episodes. They're worse than before.
They're not worse.
Andrew, I just got a disgusting. I got a glimpse of that fur patch. Oh. Don't come near me, Whiskers. Don't come here. I don't like your fur patch missing things. Yuck.
That poor guy.
Why is he naked?
He's naked because we thought he could handle it. But now that I'm looking at him, he's got a fresh spot. It's bloody. It's gross. It's ugh. Poor guy.
Well, at least you have.
Look at
least
me.
you
I'm
have
saying
treatment.
poor guy instead of yelling at him. I've changed so much.
I know he's on the. You love that cat. That's been established. Okay, how else are you making friends?
How else are we making friends?
You're meeting people through work, and then you're making an effort. That's all it takes.
That's right. Making an effort. That's the biggest thing.
You're making a lot of small talk.
I love small talk. That's the
That's
best
the
place.
main difference.
the
That's why
best
you're
kind of
good
talk.
to bring along to things. That's the what?
What do you do?
The best kind of talk. I'm dying inside when we're having small talk. That is the biggest reason. I mean, the main reason we've talked about the dating app and the skeeviness of all of it. But I'm not kidding. I can't imagine going on like a date, with a person I don't know for the sole purpose of making small talk. Kill me now, Andrew.
When you said in the beginning that I've got a super high level of curiosity,
Yep.
that manifests itself in small talk.
It 100%
I
does.
will ask you 400 questions about your
I
job.
know you will. And it's also a deflection from talking about you.
And I'm
you are
fascinated
the
by every
best
single one.
party guest. You are the best wingman in any social event. You really are. I've known that for a long time, and that is what I have used you for, as you know. I have seen you also spend, I know, more than an hour at my son's graduation party talking to my father who has Alzheimer's disease, and you were definitely interested in how his brain works and what he has to
I
say.
am interested in it.
Me too. That's fascinating, but also depressing.
That was a really exciting, in a sad way, and opportunity to see that because he was going in and out having flashbacks of being an engineer and working on problems, and he kept saying to me, "Oh, I really wish I could just get down there and see it."
I know, and he's seeing you as a business. I know, in and out. It's not so much in anymore, even a year and a half later. But going in and out of that, like real coherent, but just not quite here. But you could follow it. Oh yeah, that whole thing.
You quote Russell Brand often by saying, "My brain, which is not my ally."
Yeah.
And when I was talking to your dad, who has terrible Alzheimer's, I saw that.
Isn't that right?
You could see the person struggling against. He's like, I know something's there. I just want things to work. I want to be able to articulate the thoughts that I'm having right now.
And that, of course, is the depressing part to me. Is that's already my life. Is my brain isn't my ally, and trying to get. No, believe me, that's a freaky thing to see that might, because I can kind of understand it. I mean, watching his decline has been like, that's how I feel when I'm like super tired. Or really stressed out. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. The brain, not usually my ally. So we do what we can. And you know what? That honestly make the most of my, I feel like that's probably not inevitable for me. My dad has some extenuating circumstances, but that does run in families. And watching that brain, do that funny thing. And definitely not his ally. And for a while he knew it and was frustrated. And now he doesn't know. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know he has the disease right now, which means, in a way, often, he talks. And it's like a toddler. Honestly, he thinks he's making sense. And he is less nervous about saying the wrong thing. So it's kind of nice in a way. He's less stressed out about it. But it's also sad because it's bananas.
It is sad.
Oh,
it's
God,
so hard to see. And
I've been trying to be better about not cursing on this show so that we can get nice, wholesome sponsors. I'm not sure if we've done it tonight or not, but that is an asshole of a disease, Alzheimer's.
it's so funny. I went and I filled up his bowl, and now he is just totally content to sit there and munch on dry food for a while. Like giving a child a bag of goldfish.
Yeah, he's eating. Sure, snack bag. It's exactly like that. Correct.
I think I'm going to get in trouble for it though, because Delaney likes to feed him right before we go to bed, because that'll keep him busy, and then he'll have a full stomach and he'll go to sleep. So if he eats a little bit now, he's not going to be hungry when it's bedtime.
You guys are really doing all of the practice for parenting,
right?
Mm-hmm. And you're wrecking it. You're wrecking the dinner schedule. You're not respecting dinner time and bedtime. Bad dad.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. Sometimes you gotta give the cat a little something to keep him quiet during the podcast.
Okay, and correct, and that's it. You're doing what you got to do, which is always true. That's why you do put him in front of the TV every once in a while, because you need to take a shower. But that suit, as you have described the past 2 recording sessions, keeps him A, depressed, and B, quiet for many hours. Why are we taking it off? That suit seems like everything.
Because our goal was to have a cat with fur, and we thought we had a glimpse of it.
Yeah, you don't.
Mm-mm.
I'm telling you.
Nope,
you have a cat with a unitard.
With a unitard.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be your thing. Yeah, so anyway, Alzheimer's disease. That's hilarious. I was kind of trying to deflect and try to end that conversation, but the truth is, there is a lot there, and it is a sad but very real thing happening in the lives of my father and his family and all who love him.
What's that like when you've got your own things going on? I mean, with a divorce, with buying a house, with that sort of thing. How do you keep up with everything and still maintain the proper level of support and care and stuff with your parents?
Well, I think I don't lately. This is the thing. I talk about it in my book, which is not anything new. Who wrote it? I will look it up. The sandwich generation is what people in their middle age are called, because we are often sandwiched between our idiot kids disrupting our lives. My book, Beyond Mama Bear, is all about that. And then we are sandwiched between our adolescent kids who are disrupting everything and our aging parents who often are needing things that we are not used to because they have been our parents. So we transition into this time of our lives where, the demands that come at us are from everywhere. The sandwich generation, I'm trying to figure out, it's credited in my book, who invented the topic. I'm going to have to add it to show notes. Anyway, who invented that phrase, the sandwich generation. So sandwich between adolescents and aging parents. And the way that I have handled it is, I think for several years, I have sort of considered taking care of my parents as important, if not more important, than taking care of my adolescent children who are needing maybe less daily care. And since for a few months, when we've been going through a particularly difficult family transitional time in my little family, I have been less involved with my parents. I have been, and I felt guilty about it. I have called my mother less. I used to call a heck of a lot more, and I know that's important to her because she needs the venting system. I have just kind of, for self-preservation, kind of been a hermit from most of the responsibilities in my life. I'm coming back into the light. I've been seeing more of my parents. It's just hard. I mean, it's very hard. And there is also a balance, quite frankly, between how much care and help my parents need, as far as I can tell, and how much help my parents want. That's frustrating.
They're not ready to accept the help that they may need.
I think so. That's my perspective. My mother and I have a different point of view on that one. So it's frustrating. I mean, it really is. It's frustrating, and it's so sad. We're lucky in this day and age. We have a lot more resources. We're lucky we live in a nice, big metropolitan area where we have resources. But the truth is, it is a lonely, lonely process. And my poor mother, can you imagine transitioning into caretaking and watching the love of your life disappear and mourning him while he's still here? That's dark. That's hard. That's brutal
I can't
thing.
imagine.
Nope. It's pretty brutal. It really is. Okay, that's fun. Hey. I don't know what to make of it, Andrew. I always search for the funny. There are some funny things about Alzheimer's. I do have a couple of comedy bits ready to go at some point that I'll try out when I think it's funnier, I guess. There are some funny things, but it's hard for me to find the funny, and it's hard for me to find the hope. I don't get it. I don't get what it's for. I don't get what it's for.
It does seem awfully kind of vindictive, you know. Why would someone let that happen to someone else?
I know it. And that's not how I believe the world works. You know, that can't be the answer. Yeah, hard not to get bitter. And also, hard to find whatever. It's not my job to find the meaning in it. Is it? No, it is not. But it's hard not to try. We'll go back to Lao Tzu. We'll go back to the Tao Te Ching, which I brought up last recording session. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? That's the only thing I have to say about something as crazy as Alzheimer's disease. I want to fix it. I want to fix it. I want to fix it for my mom and my dad and the world. And there's not a lot one can do. You got to just sort of trust that. I don't know what you trust. Just remain unmoving and the right action will arise, because it is hard to find anything hopeful in that situation. But I'm sure there's something there. Even these moments, like you said, of my dad coming in and out of conversation for the past few years. At Christmas time, he gave my son George, who is in engineering school, my dad went and found some engineering books in his bookcase, which you can't even believe he knew where they were. You know, he can't find his shoes on a given day, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew who George was and why he was giving George these books from the late 50s, early 1960s, and George was just fascinated, and I mean, that was a beautiful moment of connection. But then I go, yeah, that's fine and everything, but I would rather still have my dad there and George has said, man, if only Granddad were there like we knew him, he would be digging engineering school with George.
Oh, yeah.
He'd just be so into it. Yeah. God, Andrew, get me out of it. I can't keep talking about it.
I don't know what to make of it. I'm, as in all things, I'm just curious. I just want to know more about. There's so many levels to this. One is the simple level, which is, you know, what the disease is and how it works and that sort of thing. And then the second layer is the relationships and how they're affected, and how you, the daughter, feel some guilt for not being as present as you could be. But like you said in your book, you've got to secure your own oxygen mask before you can help those around you. Yeah,
that's a painful thing to me lately. It really is. But that's been the truth. I know. Watching how the brain works. I mean, of course, it is not unlike communicating with a toddler.
Is there a little bit of, I mean, one thing that you absolutely adore above all other things is toddlers. Mm-hmm. Is there a little bit of comfort in when your dad is functioning like a toddler, that you know what to do and how to handle it?
A little bit if you lean into it that way. My friend Marnie, who I'm staying with now, she has spent some time with my parents because she very much enjoys that, all, like me, toddlers, babies, and aging people as well. And you kind of do know what to do. You if you can put yourself into the mindset, at least you know how to just turn the metronome on. The kitty just turned the metronome on by jumping on the table. Whiskers, get down. There is no place for you at this table. He doesn't know what I'm talking about.
We need to put a little heated bed under the table for him so
no
that
kidding.
he just
Heated bed and put his suit on. He's spazzing out. Okay.
He's content to sit somewhere.
So treating an Alzheimer's patient like a toddler, absolutely that's the right space to engage. And because we know how to handle toddlers, it can be enjoyable. You can watch my dad struggling to put like a multiple piece of equipment, like a tool or something, into a case where it belongs. Mm-hmm. And he's struggling with it, and it's like a puzzle, and he just keeps messing with it, but he's quite entertained with it. I mean, you can distract him, honestly, very much like a toddler at a restaurant, because he does get kind of antsy and stuff. You can distract him like with a toddler. You can put in front of him, you take a toddler, you take the little setup on the table with the sugar packets and the ketchup. You know what I mean? As much as they're able to not make a mess, and you put it in front of them, and they just organize it. And then sometimes my dad will open a creamer package and pour it in a plate, and it's a big mess. And so it's but it kept him occupied for a little while. Okay, it's very much like that. Well, that's real depressing to deal with when it's an adult. And the sadness of it is, I have realized, we've also talked about over the years with my dad, this gets less and less as he is drifting away from real communication, but it's very much like an improv situation. It doesn't much matter how we respond, and so you just stay in that yes and place. And when he says, when am I going to get my driver's license back? For a while after he had that taken away, he would ask. He still wonders when he's going to get a car. And it's very, very depressing and probably not helpful to say to an Alzheimer's patient, you're never going to drive again. You're never going to drive again, Daddy. You have Alzheimer's disease. You can't. It's not safe. At a certain point, it is more helpful to say a compassionate lie, they call it, the Alzheimer's Association. I've spent time on the phone with them. I've read the books about it. Compassionate fib, a compassionate lie. You say, oh, probably tomorrow. And then he's sated for a minute.
Sure.
Why would you tell him again and again every day that he's never going to drive again? Because every day he feels the grief. He goes, oh, man. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. And he gets real depressed. So you do this kind of dance of an improv game. I was driving with him for 50 miles a couple of years ago in Seattle, and every single exit for 50 exits, he thought I should be taking that exit. And it was a fascinating improv game because I realized it doesn't matter what I say. So I just practiced different answers every time. He would say, okay, there we need to go. That's Bothell. That's right. You need to turn off here. And sometimes I would tell him the truth. No, Daddy, we're going to the airport. We're going to go straight through. See, here's the map. Augie, show him the map. The next time he would say, oh, there you go. You're supposed to take it. And I would say, okay, I'll just whip back around. Oops, sorry, I missed the exit. Next time I would say, we're going to build an airplane over there on the space field, so we're going to keep going. Doesn't matter. So it's like this improv exercise, and it doesn't matter. But that takes, first of all, it's exhausting.
It is exhausting, and it's sad.
And it's sad, and that's what I was going to say. It is like sort of dealing like a toddler or an improv. The difference is when you are working like that with a toddler every day, the toddler gets better. Mm-hmm. You're teaching that kid skills that you know that kid will learn to that kid's capacity, and you're scaffolding that, and you're building this person. In the case of Alzheimer's disease, it's waning, like at the same level every day. He loses as much as a toddler gains every day. What do you do with that? That's depressing. But it is fascinating. I mean, it's that kind of how the brain comes in and develops, and then watching it decay. There's something to be learned, I guess, but ugh.
It's confusing, the disconnect between mind and body, because your dad is an extremely fit person. Mm-hmm. He looks much younger than he is. And it's crazy to think that a person can be so physically fit and so mentally unfit.
And that often happens with Alzheimer's. And in fact, a lot of people with Alzheimer's disease, even less kind of athletic than my daddy, their bodies get healthier because they lose their stress.
Oh, yeah?
They lose their anxiety and their high blood pressure and stuff, yeah, because they don't know that they don't have the cares of the world anymore. And so their bodies get healthier. Again, what an asshole of a disease. What cruel, cruel irony is that? Jack Spratt and his wife. Yeah, so that's right. When my father was actually diagnosed with Alzheimer's, we knew there was a lot of dementia going on, and it was getting kind of obvious, but The diagnosis came back, which again, there is not a medical blood test, but this is based on the tests and all that we know, we believe this is Alzheimer's disease. My boys who were in high school at the time rejected the news with the sort of cry of, no, wrong. Granddad can jump over that chair. Mm-hmm. Like, have you seen my
Granddad wrestles
granddad?
us at Christmas.
What's that?
I said, Granddad wrestles us at Christmas.
Yeah, Granddad wrestles them all the time. Granddad was they were both high school wrestlers, and my father was a high school and college wrestler and got down on the mat and would show, like, oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. Could teach them all kinds of things, all until the end there when he couldn't. And they couldn't believe it, and that is true. He is so healthy physically that it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe he has this disease. He has been skiing until very recently, and I think those days are done, not because he can't physically do it, but because it's just too confusing and it's too much. That is a real scene to take him out and about and skiing, and all the people and all of the
It's a real
rules.
scene, even when you're totally with it.
Totally,
You know,
totally
are we
right.
going down this run or that run?
Oh my God, right. So yeah, anyway, physically fit and mentally waning every day. Yeah, life is cruel, huh? I don't know what to make of that. Hey, welcome to our super, super happy, cheery podcast.
This is the detachment that we talked about last episode, and it's also the detachment of him not being my own father. But there is so much just unbridled curiosity that helps me get past the hard stuff. And it's I think you leaned into it too. I think you spent a lot of time learning about it and researching it. Mm-hmm. And did you find any comfort in that?
The comfort is that we can make this time with him interesting, and we can learn from it, and we can find moments of concord and peace with him, to sit there with him and try to talk to him about what he doesn't understand. It's lovely to spend that time with him. Is not bad. I find comfort in it, I guess, because I know how to handle it. You can try to tell yourself, stop being frustrated with this conversation, right? Knowing what's going to happen, of course, it's helpful. Knowing that, of course, he is not able to do that processing. Knowing that asking him to answer this question or do X, Y, and Z would be like asking me to do 50 chin-ups right now in 1 minute. He can't physically do it. That's been helpful. And we do have these moments where we have great connection with my father. But yeah, I mean, comfort, no. I would sure rather have my dad. Yeah. I still do not know what this is for. And I'm having a hard time understanding what to take from it that, to hang a hook on. There you go. That's the first time I've really, really cried hard. We asked about that earlier. It's here and there, but that's hard. Yep, that's hard. I know. I mean, of course, it's comforting to learn about it and to understand how to approach it. Of course it is. And it makes our time with him better for all of us. But, cruel. I still don't get it.
I do want to know, Augie and George struggled with it in the beginning. Have they now accepted it? And was there a moment where things changed?
No, I mean, you can't. Accepting is a funny little term. You can't. It's just the decline has been pretty intense, so that you can't ignore it. You can't have a real conversation with my dad anymore. Really, really. It's hard. It's hard for all the grandchildren, and it's hard for my mom that they don't come around more. But it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. That's hard, and that's a lot. It's a pretty big ask from a person in adolescence to negotiate that sadness and hold that in the fullness of their hearts and be present with old people who are maybe kind of annoying and also sick and freaks you out. And also you're, in your teens and 20s and you're living your necessarily introspective life when you are a young person. My son Augie, shout out to Augie Filholm, has been about as good as anybody can be with my father. He, come on now. Augie doesn't have much, this is not me talking out of school, Augie says this about himself. Augie doesn't have much patience for humans a lot of the time. And yet he, above really all of us, has the most patience for my father, can lean in and just take care of him. And it's funny, and he has even said to me, I don't know quite where that comes from. And I promise you it comes from the relationship my father and mother built with those kids when they were young. And Augie was the first grandchild, and nobody on this planet was happier than Augie being born than my dad. Oh
yeah.
my God. Oh my God. Yep. And that was a bond formed all the way back then. So, hey, shout out to all of us who are in the older half of this process. And shout out to all the young people. Keep in touch with your grandparents, especially those of them who have invested in you, because the time that my mom and dad invested in Augie and all of the grandkids has paid off. But it is so, so hard to be an adolescent person and watch this. It's hard for me. And it's, I'm a grown up. It's real hard. It's hard. I wasn't comfortable I'm still not comfortable being around old, sick people.
It's terrible.
It's uncomfortable for most adolescents, But yeah, that Augie, he's been in France, but he's coming home soon, and I expect that he will have some real quality time with Granddad. And it really is funny. Augie. He is not the most patient with humanity, but he is patient with Granddad.
He's always, both your sons are always good when it counts, They are two of the goofiest people I know, and they're always joking around, and they speak a totally different language that I never learned.
Yeah.
But they always do the right thing.
Me.
They're the two people who will see an old lady struggling to cross the street and run out there and grab her and help her.
I think that's a nice thing to say, Andrew, and that's
it's true.
Shout out to their daddy and me and my parents and everybody. It's the whole community that's raised them, including you. Yeah, that's right. They're always good when it counts. And yep, that's been a lovely thing to watch that. Hey, intergenerational podcast, Augie and Granddad. That's a skip. Well, you're very close to your grandparents. You'll be there for them should it ever go south.
Yeah,
no doubt
I am
about
pretty
it.
close with my grandparents, and it's that those are relationships that I really treasure because they have such an interesting perspective that I'm just now discovering at 25. It took so long, and they were, like you said, when you're going through adolescence and you're focused on so many other things, your grandparents are one of the last things you think about.
Yeah.
And now I'm coming into the age where I have an appreciation for who they are and what they've done and the stories that they have to tell.
Yeah, isn't that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
That's a usual way, right, for younger people to get into that cross-gender. Well, that's what we're doing right here on the podcast, isn't it? Tell me the stories from your younger days. Isn't that fascinating?
I think it's really interesting. By the time my parents were 25, they already had one kid, and we're not that far away from having me. So it's weird to think now more than ever I can sympathize with who they are as people.
Oh, man, isn't that the case? It even gets more real when you have a child of your own. Oh, gosh, so much is forgiven as a parent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be funny, right? Someday when you have kids, which I'm going to be their professional nanny, whether you know it or not, you know it. That's going to be my job, is taking nannying your kids when they need it. But won't that be interesting? Yeah, walking through all that. Teenagers are like toddlers, part of my book. Alzheimer's patients are like toddlers. You actually said it to me from Prague. You once said, Mrs. Filholm, I think everyone's a toddler.
It's true. I don't remember what the situation was, but someone who I really looked up to as being an adult was acting like a total child. And by reading your book, I had the awareness to notice it. And I was like, holy shit, maybe everyone's not a toddler all the time, but we certainly all have our moments.
Yeah. And the funny thing about adolescence especially is that you are so sort of deeply internally focused, like I said, by design, on purpose, by necessity. And that is when you are least likely to take advice or care about what old people have to say. I mean, for real, though. You know what I mean? They don't know anything. And then at a certain point, I think you're exactly right. It's about your age, and it's especially when you start having a family and making commitments and growing up on your own, you go, maybe the elders in my tribe have some advice to give me. And that's the thing. I mean, when you're talking about what do we get out of this Alzheimer's disease, I still don't know. I can't make sense of it, and I am hesitant to make sense of it. Things as weighty as that, we shouldn't try to put a label on, right? Mary kept these things and pondered them in her heart. That's a very important thing to me. Catholic school upbringing. Because if it was good enough for the mother of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Andrew, at the moment in Bethlehem, that she had to ponder it in her heart, the greatness of what had just happened, then it's good enough for me. I don't know what to make of the Alzheimer's thing, but the good news is that all along the way, there are people like you who are interested in it and curious. There are people like family and friends who support me and my family and my mom and dad. That is what you get out of it, is that we always have this community and this tribe of elders. I know we're trying to wrap it up now because Delaney's in. I'm trying to put a button on it. Hi, Delaney. Hi. That's the first time we've heard her voice.
She's on the podcast, our first guest.
Our first guest. We just talked about this is the show. We're going to open it up to the public. Oh, yeah? Is Delaney home early? Are we? Yeah. Super early.
She's not.
It's Monday.
Oh, we're not normally here on Mondays. How can we get out of it now?
Yeah, we're out of it.
God.
You just brought the ruckus by telling us what it's all about,
We
which
can't
is the community.
end on ruckus after all that. We just have to end on a button of we get community.
Oh, we get community. No ruckus brought. Maybe next week, listeners.
I guess it's a certain kind of ruckus. Bye, Andrew.
Goodbye, Mrs. Filholm.